So for the second part of this week, we're going to create a rubric for the performance task that you created the first part of this week. In case you're struggling at all, I'm going to put three more of these performance tasks up. It doesn't mean they're the best ones, but it would be a good example for you to kind of look at and reflect on yours compared to these and see where you stand. So this is the performance task, and underneath each one of these performance tasks, there's going to be a rubric that scores the performance task, and this is what you will need to create for the second part of this week. I'm going to go over a few things on the rubrics to be sure that you guys have all the components that are needed. Number one, some research has been done, or lots on rubrics, and one thing that many rubric people say is that when you look at these categories across the top, many times teachers will create three columns, and they say to try to stay away from that, because if you have a kid that falls in the middle, it's just very easy to give somebody a middle score. When you have four sections, you either have to say you were above the average line or you were below the average line. So just kind of keep that in mind. Most people will say try to have four or an even number instead of an odd one to keep that middle section out of play. The other thing that research is showing, and this is completely up to you, I will tell you what people are thinking, and then you can choose for your own. If you look at these categories, it goes from below basic to average to proficient and to advanced. You don't have to use that language. You can choose whatever wording you would like. But I do want you to look at this column over here, the advanced. As a parent, this is a little bit harder to think about. I know, for example, my son is going into third grade. If he did everything that the teacher told him to do, I would expect a 100 or an A on that project. However, on a rubric, whenever you have something that says advanced, as a teacher, you're saying, I expect more than just the average. You got to go above and beyond what I expect of you. Now, remember, you give this rubric at the very beginning, and so students know what they have to do. And the research is saying that the number one group of kids in America that are not growing are high students. The lower students are growing better than ever because we're spending all of our time and resources on them. And then we have our gifted students and our smart students that are sitting there because they're not being challenged. So when you have a rubric that has this above expectations or advanced over here, it allows for some more strenuous, rigorous activities on our smart students for them to be able to try to strive for. So think about that when you're creating your rubrics. So across the top, you're going to have your columns of proficiency, below basic, average, proficient. It could be expectations not met, met, above expectations. However you want to word those words are fine. Sometimes when you have below basic and average, proficient, advanced, it sounds more like a standardized test than a rubric, so you may want to stay away from those words. Down here on the left, you're just going to put the components that you're looking for. These are the things that are going to be graded. List of variables and expressions, list of new expressions and reductions, email to Brandon. These are all things that are going to be gradable and accessible from the performance task that you create. This is another one. You can look at the performance task up above. They're going to do a cardboard design. They're going to show their work. They're going to do a final presentation, and all of these things are going to be graded. The other thing that I really want you to be aware of is over here where it says below basic. There are many teachers that will say not turned in or not attempted. And I want you to understand that you are giving points for a kid not doing anything. If this column said cardboard design, not turned in or not attempted, 3 points, you're giving them points for nothing. Nowhere on your rubric should there be a did not attempt or did not turn in. They have to do something. A 0 is not an option. But when you make an option on your rubric, then some students will choose that. So be aware of those things. What I need you to do is create a rubric that looks somewhat like these. You can use Microsoft Word and create a table. I'm going to upload Rubistar. Just link that onto the Canvas page, and you can use Rubistar, which has many things already in it for you that you can use. Mess around with it. And by Sunday night, this all needs to be turned in, your Stage 2 final draft. What that means is you're going to have your performance task, you're going to have your rubric, you've got your formative assessment calendar that you completed last week, and you also have your end of unit test. Those four things make up your Stage 2. It is all of your assessments and how you're going to grade your assessments. So that will be due Sunday at midnight. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Research rubrics. I'm going to put these three up there for you to choose from. Many of you have created rubrics before. I just want your rubric to be neat, to be precise, and I want it to assess what your performance task is intended to assess. Let me know if I can help you guys with anything. Have a great rest of the week.